Hi there and welcome to this thought leadership video where I'm thrilled to be joined by László Wolf, who's the Deputy CEO and member of the board at OTP Bank. And in today's video we're going to be speaking about OTP Bank and the rich history and culture. László, lovely to see you again. How are you?
Thank you. Very well.
Congratulations are in order first and foremost, because I do believe you've been celebrating a very famous milestone of 30 years. So tell me, how was it? How did they present this amazing achievement, and talk to me about your experience with OTP.
So I've joined OTP in '93 April, and I'm in the same position since '94 February. So people ask me whether it's boring or not, and I always tell, it's not boring at all, because the work what I did 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago was completely different what we do today, because the bank has changed so much, the work has changed so much. In '94, '95 we were still talking about the processing of the transfer orders made by hands. At that time, transfer orders were made by hands, of course, and we had to check each transfer order. Of course, few years later, then electronic payment became fashionable and has developed very fast. But when I still joined, almost all transfers were still written by hand. Today, this is very rare, almost impossible. So we made a huge technological leap in these 30 years, and still important to mention. At that time, OTP was a state-owned bank when the chairman and CEO, Mr. Chang, has joined in '92, and I joined then less than 1 year later. At that time, the bank was owned by the state. It was an old-fashioned state-owned bank, and we started two things at that time: privatization and modernization. The privatization has started through an IPO that the government sold a big stake, first in '95, later '97, '99, to the public through the stock exchange, and we started to introduce new IT solutions, and then there was no stop, new and new solutions, and nowadays we talk about artificial intelligence, supercomputer solutions, and all processes in the branch network are partly managed by IT, and IT is the basis of the operation in all areas of the bank. It would have been impossible to serve 16 million clients in 11 countries without modern, up-to-date technology, which development is constant. So it's very difficult to mention. There are periods, there are of course very important steps, but the development is constant. There was, for example, a big step when we introduced SMS control for the card transactions. Hopefully it is true, we think it's true, that it was introduced first by OTP when in the world, that when you withdraw cash,
SMS comes off.
You get an SMS to check the exact situation, to be informed that the transaction was made correctly, and you can check it. So we made many innovations, which is I think inevitable for a retail bank to remain competitive and to be successful.
So interesting. So let's talk about your history. What surprised you over those 30 years? Because so much has happened. You've had COVID, which has been quite recent. You've had the global financial crisis. So I'd love to understand, looking back over those 30 years, what's been the biggest surprise within OTP Bank?
Oh, there were several crises, but as the philosophy of the management was always to grow, but at the same time not to overgrow and to be stable. So we have always managed the bank taking care of the stability and strong capital position of the bank. Although we have felt the crisis, there was still a Russian crisis, and then came international financial crisis. But as we are a strong retail bank, and we have many retail clients, retail depositors, the stability of the bank was never questionable. Especially not questionable because we had not only the stable funding base and many retail clients, but also a very safe portfolio quality. So we managed all these key pillars of stability very, very strongly and very carefully. So we had crises, we have felt the crisis, and we were always so strong that we could finish the crisis in a stronger position. And what is still important, we have always have drawn the conclusions from the crisis. What to change, what control points, checkpoints to build in the operation, what we have to change in the strategy, in the financial management of the bank, and also the regulators are more and more strict, and stricter and stricter. That's why the banks is becoming always more and more stable. Actually, it's also true for most of the European banks. The European banking sector is getting more and more stable, and that's also this situation also with other banks. Crises are coming, and we always take care of the bank that any crisis coming, we are stable in the crisis, and then we operate in a very safe way.
Laszlo, congratulations on your 30-year anniversary. I'm sure you're going to remain here for many more years. Really appreciate your time, and appreciate the opportunity to shoot in an amazing venue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.